screen today. All right, we have a couple announcements for you. So we are super excited about that. So next week, this call is going to change just the time. So same day, but it's going to move back or down an hour. So now it's going to be 11 Eastern, which would be 10 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Mountain, 8 o'clock Pacific. So make the change on your calendars. Lovely will put it all over in the newsletter, on Facebook, on the calendar we make. If you don't know, we make a calendar on the networkpartners.co. We couldn't get com, so it's .co, but there's a calendar on there too, if you're ever wondering. And I believe she posts that calendar in Facebook too. I am not sure about that, but I'll have to look. So next week, starting next week, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central, and so on, the Monday Momentum call. The noon attraction call is still on Mondays. Real Estate B School does a call now called the $1 Million Agent Method. That's at 1 p.m. Eastern on Mondays. So Mondays is from 11 to 1 or 11, 12, and 1, there's calls that you can attend. And then Tuesdays, we're going to bring back the production mastermind. So that is now going to be run by Janie, me, and John Mikish, and we're going to run the production mastermind. So you can bring your guests to that call. So if you're wondering, like, what's the difference? So on our call, we're going to have more elevated topics. It's going to be specific to also our group. It's going to be sort of the more tactical instead of so much big picture. You'll get different topics here than you would on the production mastermind. Then on the production mastermind, it'll be sort of similar to how it was before, where it's a little more big ideas, but you can bring guests. We're going to have guest speakers. So if you have a topic you want to coach on, lead one. Also, we're going to ask people from just other maybe organizations or whoever is sort of top of their game in something. We'll ask them to come to that production mastermind and present as well. And then B School's call on Monday is specific to Real Estate B School's tools. So those calls will be specific to that. Anything to add, Janie? Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to point out one of the reasons we're doing it like this is we realize, Stacie and I realize, with the advent of this co-sponsoring change within EXP, there's a lot of agents out there at EXP that do not have great uplines. Maybe their sponsor was somebody they met in real estate school. Maybe their sponsor is no longer even at EXP. Maybe they didn't really know what they were getting into when they picked a sponsor. By having our training in Game Changers, we realize there's even people in Game Changers that are in that same boat. And we feel that we're really building something great within the network that's kind of like Real Estate 2.0, higher level training, tactical, team leaders, high growth, luxury, investment, things like that. So we want to empower everybody to be potential great co-sponsors too. So if you know somebody, even a fellow game changer who's talking to somebody, but they're like, gosh, I really don't have anything great to tap them into, there's ways with this co-sponsorship that you could do that. So that's one of the reasons we're putting this together, and we kind of have these different pockets of the training that's available. We want you guys to have the best of the best within the network. And then, like Stacie said, a little bit bigger picture, broad brush stuff within Game Changers. So keep
Yeah.
the co-sponsor hat on at all times. There's a lot of opportunities out there, and it's really reinvigorated a lot of EXP agents to actually become attractors who maybe didn't want to in the past because they really didn't have anything to plug a potential person into. So,
And just to go real quick on a question that I got a few times this last week about co-sponsor. Um, so think of it as a new agent coming in can name a co-sponsor, but now you and someone else can almost create a new sponsorship line. Okay, so the confusion was an agent. And if you guys, I want you to know that that if you have agents in EXP or maybe even you as an agent, people are calling people saying, hey, can I co-sponsor with you? I think there's a few things that you need to keep in mind. The co-sponsor is the person that is being inserted into the original sponsorship line. Okay. So what that means is let's take Paul and Todd because they're like both first on my screen. So if Paul and Todd want to, let's say Paul had someone and he was like, man, I think Todd would be a good co-sponsor. So that works out because you guys have the same upline, I guess. But if let's just say, let's use another, we'll use GoGo. So let's say GoGo, Paul wants to co-sponsor with GoGo. If GoGo is the primary sponsor, Paul, your person loses access to the whole upline. So the calls and the assets and all of those things. So it's just something to consider. So especially if you're going to co-sponsor with an agent that does not have a strong upline, you want to be that primary sponsor. But it is the person that's coming in, it's their choice. Okay. So if someone brings someone to you and they ask you to be the co-sponsor and they have an upline that they like and they've got this all figured out, they're just pulling you in maybe because you're local, maybe because they know you do something well, totally be the co-sponsor. There's no problem with that. But I just want to point out that if they don't have any strong feelings about it, you may want to sort of vie for that primary position so that you can include all of the upline stuff. So I know it was presented to one of my agents actually, and it was very confusing to them. Like they did not understand it, and it sounded they thought it sounded like they had to switch sponsors. So so just know you may be getting pitched, you may have people under you that are getting pitched. So the more you know about it, the better. It's launching here in 2, 3 days, May 1st. And so you can go back and watch the video I did. There's a sponsorship, or sorry, a co-sponsor toolkit. Lovely.
RJ
If you have
dropped
that
it.
link in you. Oh,
RJ dropped it into the chat already, the toolkit.
ew, look at that. Love it.
And
Thank you.
there's a look back, like what is it, back to February, Stacie? That
Yeah, it's like
anybody,
February 28th, the
yeah,
3rd or
there's a date that if you know of somebody who joined EXP since a certain time, that they can benefit from this new thing. It's only a win for everybody, for the sponsor, the co-sponsor, the agent coming in, and the downline people from the agent coming in. It just has to be structured appropriately that fits the agent coming in's needs.
Yep, for sure. Any questions on that? And it's okay if you do. It's Oh, you're muted, Todd. There
Unmute, unmute.
you go.
So just to be clear, because maybe some of the terms, we're
Mhm.
using, your people, which, I'm thinking of people that I've already sponsored, right? But when you use that term, sometimes you're talking about prospects, right? Because
Well, I'm saying as
somebody say I've got a guy on my team named Wes, whoever, he he's not going to be approached to be co-sponsored, right?
well, no,
Only prospect.
there are people being approached to co-sponsor that are existing in EXP in your line.
Really?
Yes, 100%. So you have to make sure everybody understands what co-sponsorship is. Yep. So the example that I gave, is someone in my line already at EXP. Another line is pitching them to be a co-sponsor, but they want them to be the co-sponsor always. And their agent will be the primary sponsor. They don't even have anybody yet, but they're pitching this could work. Well, and then they want like commitment, like, will you do this? And when you bring someone, let's do the same thing. And so that person in my line was like, I don't want to be just sort of pigeonholed into that. And you're not. So they could be the primary, the other person could be the co-sponsor on a different person, but just know your people, yes, are being pitched.
Stacie,
Yeah.
so last. Isn't it depend? Doesn't it depend on the date? Because for instance, if there's one at each piece in 2 years, we can't decide for a co-sponsor. We have to. There's a limit on time. I think from 1 month ago, 2 months ago.
Yeah. So go ahead, Jeannie. You want to answer that?
Oh, hey, Lars, yes, they can only ask to add a co-sponsor if they joined within, we think it's 2 months. It's sometime in February of 2025.
This I understood.
Mhm.
Or anybody that
So
joined
Lars, it might be
after me.
different from you if you're talking about somebody in Europe, because I think that they opened it up for European people earlier.
Oh, the date
No,
retroactive?
Yeah.
They told me no. They told me up to 2 months ago. So,
Okay.
so it's no problem that people get pitched from older people. It's like vets or like other people who are with you. They won't get pitched because they're already more than 2 months in the game.
Yeah, nobody's gonna get pitched who's already here more than a few months ago.
That was my question, Stacie.
Okay, wait. We're talking about two different things. So, okay. Someone that's already in EXP. Okay, so let's just use real people. Okay, so let's say Joe joined EXP in 2021. He cannot name a co-sponsor. Okay. But Joe could be pitched to co-sponsor a new person with the Fast Forward group. So the example that I was giving is that your people are going to be pitched for new lines, like make new people coming in. They are. So Joe can be pitched by Fast Forward, Honey Badgers, Align, whatever all these network names are or organization names are, to start a new line. Just remember that if you or your people or somebody else goes in as the co-sponsor, you lose the upline. So you want to, if possible, be the primary. So you have that.
So the person under Joe, say Joe's under me, the person under Joe gets
Those bringing in one.
becomes co-sponsor. I will not receive any
Right.
revenues. Okay, I get.
Correct.
I mean, this has got to be confusing because I know you've tried to talk to me about it 100 times. I
No,
still
it is
getting the
confusing.
upline downline thing. So yeah,
No,
okay,
is
I get it now.
confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jamie. Okay. Yes, it's okay that you're confused. Okay.
Can I jump in?
Yes,
So
go
let's
ahead.
just we'll call this a real world example. So I got approached from say Honey Badgers. And they said, Paul, we know you're talking to Ben. He's talked to us. Let's do the co-sponsor thing that everybody's talking about, but we want to be the primary. Okay. So if I say, yeah, even though I have a relationship with this agent, this prospect, like if we would go down that route, then I would not, even though we're in close proximity, I couldn't really say, hey, jump on a call with Stacie and jump on a call with Lars and jump on a call with Mike-ish, because this new agent isn't part of their world, isn't part of your world, isn't part of this collective world at all, because all the value is supposed to be coming from honey badgers, right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
so it's all the benefit that I'm used to offering ceases. I still benefit financially because they're in my downline, but none of the value that I typically can offer is available to them because it's all coming from the primary sponsors downline, which would be honey badgers. Does that
Yes,
make sense?
that's a really good explanation. Also, when I say pitched, what I mean is what Paul was saying, where he knew this guy and but somehow honey badgers, someone knew this guy or found out he was possibly coming to EXP. Okay. But Paul is the reason that this person is coming, right? So without co-sponsorship, Paul would have normally sponsored them, right? So when I say pitched, it may be that another line may come to you and say, hey, don't be the primary. I'll be, a new line. I'll be the primary. You stay co-sponsor. And Leo's take on it is that the person that really did attract them to EXP should be the primary. That is his take on it. Now, we talked about, though, if they don't have an upline to take advantage of, and they're asking you to be the co-sponsor, well, then maybe nobody has any assets to provide. No one has any extra help. So think through that, definitely. Go ahead, Jeannie.
So Paul, in your case, you're right. You don't have the things that you could, if it's being suggested that you are now the co-sponsor, prior to this existing, that person could only pick one person. They could have 50% chance been equally wooed just to go with that other line. And then you would just unfortunately be out. It's happened to me multiple times. It's happened to Stacie because there are a couple good lines, and each line has a different vibe, a different offering, a different value. And depending on where somebody is right then at that point in their time in their career, they might have picked somebody else, but now there's the ability that you guys can come together. And the whole goal is getting them to EXP, loving on them, supporting them. So I would just see it in that way, that instead of that person just bouncing out or, just not joining you and joining this other line.
I think it comes down to what's in the best interest of the incoming agent,
Yeah.
100%.
right? And like that always has to be first and foremost. I think where the issue is the slimy side of things of making kind of unofficial contracts with agents. Like it's the internal prospecting for future sponsorship opportunities.
Yeah.
Right? And I think what this forces is for us it would behoove us to know the true value that we have in our uplines, and not even in our uplines, but in the organization as a whole. Because, for example, I'm not in Janie's upline, right? But I do know that if I have somebody who's in luxury or somebody who's down in Florida, it would make sense for me to reach out to her, because then we're all speaking the same language in the way we go about things on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
Yeah.
And advocating for our group as a whole, and building it up.
Yeah, for sure. Geraldine, go ahead. Oh, then Todd.
Thank
And
you.
then Jamie has a question
Oh,
too.
then Jamie, yeah. Sorry.
And then co-sponsorship, of course, it's optional for the new person that comes in, right?
Correct. Yeah, does
wanted-
not have to be one.
We could offer, right, and present, or they can, maybe ask, well, I like this person that is very, experienced in AI or something, and then that's how. But it's always optional to the person that is coming in.
That's right. That's right.
And
And
Yeah,
there's-
I wouldn't even pitch it Unless like with Paul's case, they're talking to multiple people, then it's better that the multiple people come together and give them the best of however they want. Or like you said, there's some benefit that they might get from somebody else, whether it's a geographic benefit or a specialty. So because of my luxury training, I've already co-sponsored with somebody who wanted the tech training from Michael Reese's group, but she wanted the luxury, so I'm the co-sponsor on that one. And then somebody else lower from me, a guy approached her because she was geographically close to a prospect for him. They chose to make her the sponsor because that guy really didn't have anything in his upline, and now she can tap into my luxury and everything like that. So it's really going to come down to each situation, but I don't think we should go into attraction with co-sponsoring as the first. It's just if it makes sense for the person who's joining
Right,
the
right.
company.
And even if they don't do it right then and there, is this, like, say someone that wants to, because I'm actually talking to someone, he made the decision, so he doesn't have to cost sponsor right away. He can think through that process, right? Or choose to do it later on, or it has to be done right away.
He's only got 7 days.
I see. Okay,
Yep.
I
From
didn't
the time the application is filled out. So, oh, it's only 7 days. And one thing I just want to say also, and then we'll go to everybody else's questions here. And great question, Geraldine, is that just recently, not in my group, but in a group in our upline, like our cousins, someone had this guy that's like ready to join. Then co-sponsorship, they kind of found out about it. Great. So then the guy who was going to be the primary was like, "Hey, this guy would make sense then. You know him too. Like, let's do this, blah blah blah." Someone else heard that this person was coming, maybe has talked to him. We only know one side of it, right? And because they suggested co-sponsorship already, and I don't know if it made sense or how it all came out. So the quote unquote primary is in our upper line. Okay. Suggested a co-sponsor. Somebody else at EXP somehow, whatever, found out, maybe had talked to him before. Primary sponsor is out. These two are now co-sponsoring. The original co-sponsor and then the other one that found out. And the person made that choice. So it's always up to them, but you have to be careful when you're suggesting other people and other things. And now, like we said, if it helps you get them over the line or it makes sense, and there's going to be situations like that. Just like Janie said, many of us have gotten people to the line and we're like, they're signing. See ya, RJ. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, I signed with somebody else. Like that literally happened to me. I was like getting ready. I'm like, yay. And then they like text me. They're like, all right, I'm all signed up and like under someone else. I'm like, wait, what? I'm confused. So, it'll happen both ways. But Todd, did you have something? Oh, you didn't? Okay. Or we talked over you too long. Now you don't remember. Jamie.
Hey there. Okay, two things. So if you, let's say I'm talking to someone, and so I would be like the primary. I guess obviously it's however they choose it, right? But I would, if they decide to make me the primary, then they have access to everything in the network and all of that. But
Yep.
if they choose someone else as a co-sponsor and they make kind of them the primary, then they get cut off from all of the network stuff, and then they get access to all of that.
Correct.
And are we equal? Like, are the payments equal? Like, let's say you are co-sponsors, it's equal. It's just the cutoff of the line that you don't have access to.
So you do still get, they're your line 2 if you're the primary. Co-sponsors line 1. So it's not split. So like for instance, Real, they split it 45%, 45%, and then Real takes another 10%. So full revenue share is paid to you. It's just they're on line 2 to you and they're line 1 to the co-sponsor.
Okay.
So co-sponsor gets the bonus.
There's also in Florida, I've noticed that they have someone who's being promoted as a growth partner in Florida
Oh
to
yeah,
help people. Is that a co-sponsor situation, or that is truly like individual?
a corporate person that is there to help you get them over the line. So they are not
Okay.
a sponsor. Go ahead, Jamie.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's a staff person. So, just like at other brokerages, there's people who are in charge of recruiting for the brokerages. At Compass, they call them, I think, growth managers too. We have them, we just have a lot fewer of them. And so there's 3, I think, across the US, there's 1 for Europe, and then some of the bigger states have staff people too. Their main job is to just help and support you with growth.
Okay, that's great. That's with Josie, right, Jamie?
Yeah, that
Josie
shows.
Bias. Okay.
And remember, there is the toolkit for you guys. If you go to EXP Okta to the tiles, go down to the bottom under toolkit. There's a growth toolkit that gives you all the tools you need for attraction. And then if you belong to the luxury division, there's actually a luxury toolkit as well. You guys don't have to belong to the luxury division to tap into the luxury toolkit. So if you're talking to somebody who's interested in luxury or is a luxury agent or is at a luxury brokerage, you can go into those toolkits and get all the assets within that luxury toolkit about the luxury division.
Yes, I'll give you
Big
guys this
tool.
link from Canva, and it has all of the toolkits on it.
Oh, perfect.
I also saved it in my bookmark, so I just go to like toolkits, but honestly, this is probably better, the link, because it gives you like a little bit of an explanation. Because sometimes when I'm like, wait, would that answer be in the revenue share toolkit, the growth and retention, the sponsorship, and like there's a few kind of called the same in my head. So yeah, but those toolkits are awesome, guys. That will help too. Let's see. Oh, also, we will be adding to the network. Let me pull up the network website quick. I'll share my screen. Lovely did a really good job on this. You guys, poor Lovely had to make this like 3 times because I switched basically like CRMs. So, and the speed at which she gets it done is unbelievable. So this is our website right now. And it's got like a little video here. It talks about the benefits and resources, and we will add to this as well. It's got our calendar here. It's got top producers, welcome to the network. That's changed. And then here it has our like year in review. So they can see like how many agents, what we've done. And this is the top in our network, buyer sides, listing sides, those things. We've got links to some of our trainings that are here. We've got some testimonials. And anything that you guys push here that gets sent. This is our like, admin Lovely monitors this. So if it's like, hey, Geraldine sent me here, hey, Jamie sent me here, I have a question, we're not going to like keep them or take them away from you or anything like that. Like this is all of our sites. So anything else that you see you want added on here or you think needs, we will do that as well. And then Lovely, can you post in the chat really quick the link to our like magazine? We have, I call it a magazine. It's like a flip book and it says some things about our network and stuff like that. So we'll be adding to that as well, just to help, hey, what does your group have? So we'll be adding to this as well. So any suggestions are welcome. You can just email them to info@staciepeterson.com and Lovely will get them over to me, and Janie and I'll definitely take a look at them too.
I think it's super, super important that you guys save that, bookmark it, both things that they've just shared, because with the co-sponsoring solution that we now have at EXP, I think we're going to see a lot more opportunities where somebody is asking somebody to co-sponsor, often because they're in the same geographic area.
Yes.
A lot, because that's been one of the big things that needed improvement and they just hadn't figured out how to do it. But now they do. So be prepared to be asked to be a co-sponsor, potentially because of an area, or do the same. If you're talking to somebody and they're in Kansas and you're not in Kansas, and this is maybe a new agent or something where you think they could really benefit by plugging into local people, look at that too. Like Stacie's saying, you benefit the same from that person, and it's slightly different, but 99% the same of all that person and everybody below them. And then just keep in mind who should be the primary sponsor based on who's between the sponsor and the co-sponsor, whose upline can best support the needs of that person. I think that's the main thing, because there are a lot of people at EXP that their uplines are just almost non-existent, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So it doesn't do anything negative to a potential primary sponsor to switch to be the co-sponsor if they don't have an upline at all anyway, because they're going to get paid the same, and it might make their situation for that agent stickier because now they can really support them in multiple tiers of support and training and stuff like that. So I think we're going to see a huge shift on how sponsorship goes going forward. There's always going to be people who abuse situations. I think that happens in every aspect of life, and in real estate. It happened before with regular sponsorship. It happens with listings. It happens all kinds of stuff. But 99% of what's coming out of co-sponsor is really fit for the benefit of everybody, and it's really huge and exciting.
Yes, yes. And we're not saying like you should try to be the primary just because we want to be paid. Like, well, that's awesome. That's not really it. It is so that you don't have to create a whole bunch of stuff yourself either. Like you can just plug in and do what you do best and support them. So
I have a question, Stacie. So the ideal situation would be that the two sponsors, either the primary and the co-sponsor, can also talk in advance to see how they can provide the best value for that person. Or, I mean, that would be the ideal scenario. Or I don't know. What do you think?
yeah, I mean, I think you should definitely, I almost look at it like a co-listing. Like you wouldn't necessarily co-list with someone and you've never talked to them.
Right.
Now, if the other person brings them into the situation, that could be a little different, but you probably either know them or know what they offer, or yeah, like I had a situation where I actually am the co-sponsor. We do end up in the same upline, so it didn't really matter that way. But we had a conversation first. And I said, what are your expectations from me? Like, what are you looking for? Primary sponsor. Because the agent was new. So they didn't really know, what. And he felt it would be a benefit and gave me some reasons. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Right. Right. Okay. So we can also be, approached to be co-sponsors as well.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. That's right.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. All right. Any other questions? Anything we can help with? I'm glad we actually talked about this. I had something different planned, but this worked out perfect.
I think it's super, like, this is really, really a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a big deal. And the people who understand it and who are dialed into it and who are sharing about it, and understand our line and understand all these things, I think it's really an exciting next step for our company.
For sure. Agreed. All right. Well, if you guys need anything, never feel like you can't reach out to us for questions or support or whatever. We're always here. Otherwise, okay, so next week, our call starts at 11 Eastern. So if you come early and you're like, why is no one on Zoom? That's why, because we're not there yet and we're coming at 11 Eastern.
So formally we switch next week. instead of
That's
10 Eastern, 11 Eastern.
correct. That's right. Yep, for sure. All right. Well, you're welcome. We will, oh, thank you, Jamie. We will, excuse me, let you guys go. And if you need anything, let us know. Janie, can you stay on for a second? Geraldine has a question.